What if I told you you're one step away from changing your life? When I was in school, I developed the wrong mindset, which held me back in my teens, my 20s, and even my early 30s. After multiple failures, I knew something had to change. That's when I discovered how powerful the right mindset can be. So I implemented some small changes and my whole life changed. That's why I want to help men of all ages to develop a mindset so strong so no matter what you face, you can push through and make your dreams a reality. So the first mindset shift I made was how I viewed my failures. When I was in university, I set up my first business, Kataro Clothing, where I'd sell designer clothes online. But that business failed, and when it did, it was the worst feeling in the world. It not only killed my confidence, all I wanted to do was forget the last 2 years. But this was one of the biggest mistakes I made. By not taking time to look at that failure, I ended up making the same mistakes over and over again. It was only in the future when I was sitting at my computer editing some pictures and someone came over to me and said, "How did you learn that?" And I explained when I set up my first business, Kataro Clothing, I couldn't afford anyone to edit the pictures, so I had to learn how to do it. I was just about to start complaining about that business. Then the other person said to me, "I bet you're glad you did that business in university." And something just clicked. Just in that one moment, I realized that first business was actually helping me. So I started to look a lot deeper into my past failures. And now I call them valuable experiences because they contain so many valuable lessons that are helping me today. Just from that first business, I learned how to edit pictures, I learned how to buy stock, I learned how to create a website. I also learned that you don't need to spend thousands of pounds on a website. You can actually get a website builder. There are so many valuable experiences from your failures if you're willing to look at them. But if you bury them like I did, you will just end up making the same mistakes over and over again. That's why your failures are so valuable to your success. That's why I don't want you to look at your failures as a negative anymore. I want you to see them for what they are, valuable experiences. All my past failures are helping me today. Furthermore, this doesn't just apply to business, it applies to friendships, relationships, family. It applies to every aspect of your life. Whether you failed on your diet, failed going to the gym, failed approaching a girl, all of them contain valuable experiences if you're willing to learn from them. That's why don't look at your failures as a negative. Therefore, if you start to look at your failures as valuable experiences, you will not only develop the right mindset, you will develop a strong mindset that will allow you to take on more challenges and more risk over time. I made one of the biggest mistakes trying to forget my past failures. I don't want you to do the same, because they're so important to your success. See your failures for what they are, valuable experiences, but also building blocks to your future success. The next thing I did to build a stronger mindset was stop caring what other people think. Now I know this is a lot easier said than done because no one wants to feel stupid, look like a failure, or be told, "I told you so." But over 100 years ago, two brothers had an idea to fly a plane. Everyone said to them it was impossible, it was never gonna happen. Just imagine if they listened to everyone. We wouldn't be flying around the world like we are now. I wouldn't be in Malaysia living my best life if it weren't for those two brothers. But just imagine they listened to everyone else but themselves. They would have never got to fly that plane and they would have never achieved the things they wanted. There are so many examples of successful people who were told it's not gonna happen, they're crazy, they can't do it. But because they had a strong mindset but also put in the work, they made their dreams a reality. I also let the opinions of others stop me from doing what I wanted to do. I actually wanted to set this YouTube channel up about 8 years ago. I wasted 6 years because I cared too much about what other people were gonna say and think. But what makes that situation even more painful is that the people's opinions I was so worried about are no longer in my life. That's why you shouldn't let other people's opinions stop you from doing the things that you want. When you stop caring about other people's opinions, it will help to level up your mindset. Furthermore, no matter if you do good or bad, someone will always have an opinion. Furthermore, the majority of people will have an opinion without understanding what you're trying to do. Therefore, I want you to look at those people whose opinion you're so worried about and ask yourself, do you want to be like them? Will they pay your bills? Will they help you when you're in need? If the answer is no, then maybe it's time you stop caring about what those people think. Once you stop caring, you will take action. Once you take action, you will get results. When you get results, it will strengthen your mindset, but also it will boost your confidence. So you will be able to take on bigger challenges, but also get bigger reward. Therefore, I want you to stop caring about other people's opinions, focus on yourself, and start building that strong mindset so you can achieve everything that you want. Once you do this, you will develop a mindset so strong, no matter what you do, you won't care what anyone has to say. The next thing that really helped me to level up my mindset was facing my fears. I have a massive fear of drowning. This started back in school on my first swimming lesson. I saw the swimming pool, I got so excited, I ran over and jumped in. But as soon as I landed, I slipped. Water was going in my eyes, my ears, my mouth. I still remember shouting, help, help, and the instructor shouting back at me, stand up, stand up. What lasted probably 30 seconds felt like a lifetime. After that, the fear of drowning stuck with me for so many years. But in the last 12 months, I decided to face that fear. I learned how to swim in deep water, and it was one of the best things I ever did. So now whenever I get into a tough situation or I ever doubt myself, I just remind myself, if I can conquer that fear of drowning and start swimming in deep water, I can do anything. Facing my fear of drowning not only improved my mindset, I got a natural high after every lesson. I felt so good. I felt like I could do so much, but also it just gave me a massive boost to my confidence. Facing your fears has so many benefits, but it definitely helps to improve your mindset. You might have a fear of applying for a new job, asking for a pay rise, talking to women, talking in public, going to the gym, starting your self-improvement journey. No matter what your fear is, if you take small steps to face your fear, you will develop a stronger mindset. Next time you face your fears, don't run away. Think how you can face them head on. That's how you build confidence, but also a stronger mindset. And if you need help with that, the link's in the description. Another thing you want to do to build a stronger mindset is change how you see challenges in your life. If you see challenges as a negative and always try to avoid anything difficult in your life, you will create a weak mindset. And when that time comes, a difficult situation arises and there's no other option to face it, you will struggle and collapse at the thought of what's ahead. You won't know what to do because you've always chose the easier option. That's why facing challenges in your life helps you to develop a stronger mindset, because when life gets hard, you're able to deal with it. Whether it's getting into better shape, changing your financial situation, becoming more confident, improving your look. Facing these challenges will help to improve your mindset, but also your life. Without struggle, you can't grow. Just remember, each challenge is there to force you to get better and improve yourself. Accept it's going to be difficult. Accept there's going to be setbacks. Accept there's going to be pain. Accept there's going to be shit days. But don't accept that you can't do it. Therefore, whenever you're faced with challenges or difficulties in life, I want you to remind yourself the universe is not against you. The universe has put those challenges in front of you because it knows you can deal with them, but also they're there to make you better and grow as a man. So wake the fuck up, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and get ready to take on those challenges, because the world's ready for you to take whatever you want. One of the biggest misconceptions out there is that you need willpower to succeed in life, but also build a strong mindset. But this is so wrong. Anyone who's just relied on willpower alone to do something has always failed. I personally have. I don't know how many diets I've failed because I thought I had the willpower to control what I do. Instead of relying on willpower, Set up your life so you don't fail. Plan and put in systems so you can achieve the things that you want. When you plan your life and have everything set up, you don't need willpower. You don't need to rely on this one force that can come and go whenever it wants. That's why I recommend you planning your days, but also putting systems so you can do the things you need to do. Currently, I'm trying to get into the best shape of my life. I love chocolate. So what I do, I don't buy it. If I don't buy it, it's not in my fridge. When I want a snack, I choose a healthier option. That's why you should plan, but also organize your life so you don't have to rely on this thing, willpower, because willpower will come one day and then it will leave another day. But if you plan your day and have the right systems, you end up doing the right things, which reinforces your mindset, creating a stronger mindset. People underestimate the power of planning, but also setting your life up to succeed. Never rely on willpower to do anything. Take the right actions, set up your day, and then you will get the result. Now, if you need help with anything, the link's in the description. But if you want to know the mindset that holds people back, you might want to click here.